drugs are gateways to violence, they see their goal of prohibiting those items, maybe well-meaningly, as more important than your right to possess something in a way that doesn't violate someone else's rights. Accepting that paradigm, accepting that concept is dangerous. And I say that because it requires no paradigm shift whatsoever to transition from mortgage bailouts and marriage laws and drug and gun prohibition to acts of terrorism and war. There is no paradigm shift involved. Terrorists believe just as passionately that their belief is more important than your rights, and they believe that just as passionately as economists and politicians and preachers and safety advocates and you name it. Unfortunately, as you can see, that paradigm is destructive to peace and prosperity, and in fact, ultimately to life itself. Now, we may not be able to change other people's beliefs unilaterally, but we can influence them. The problem with their current vision is that it results in the plunder of everyone, and that's the situation we're in presently. First, someone gains competitive advantage by thinking, oh, I can get my way by trumping your rights. And then the second step is everybody else seeing that, they do the same. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So plunder becomes no longer the competitive advantage, it becomes the minimum acceptable standard. And that's where we're at today. Now, and of course, this leads to another step which is rather troubling, and that is the increasingly egregious violation of rights. And I think of several even Middle Eastern Islamic theocracies that come to mind. Their recognized governments impose forcefully their passionately held belief onto the entire society in abridgment of their rights. Now, our government is not so oppressive, but make no mistake, it operates in that very same paradigm. It is not any different in that respect. Now, it's important to note that this problem really only works out this way when we believe different things. If we all believe the same thing, we really don't encounter that problem. The remedy for the problem is to present freedom, and I'm done with the bad stuff now, so you guys can stop aiming. The remedy for this is to present freedom as a framework, as the framework for the peaceful coexistence of differing or diverse beliefs. And so a way to do this is, instead of arguing your beliefs, and in fact, instead of even arguing your belief in rights, point out your differences. It's controversial. But point out your differences and use that as a proof to the other person. You know what? We do not believe the same thing. We don't believe the same thing. So how are we going to resolve this conflict? Show them that the acceptability of violating rights, even in support of passionately held belief, is destructive to society. And it is. And finally, explain to them the truth. In my opinion, I believe the truth, that stopping the plunder and eliminating the ever more dangerous and egregious violations of liberty, they can more effectively live out their beliefs. Their beliefs. Now, then they would be free, they could go find like-minded people, for example, if they like, broccoli or something. They could find broccoli people and all get together, and they could work freely and effectively and voluntarily to pursue their vision of broccoli or something like that. So the only limitation on that is to be within the framework of respecting people's rights. It's pretty simple.